Hi, welcome to episode 5.
5?
Five.
Oh, gosh, all right.
I know,
Episode 5.
I know. Of Well We Are Working with Jim and Andrea.
Yeah.
The place where you find out all the stuff you want to know about movies and whether you should see them. And this week we have a really good one, because if you want to see it, you have to rush out and pay $4 on a streaming service for it, because it was made in 1980.
It is really good. It was
Well,
good.
we'll talk about that.
One.
We'll talk about that. It's called The Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yeah.
If you're listening to a podcast, you might not know that movies that are that old. I didn't know.
Not that old.
Let's just be honest. It's before I was born. Not
Whatever.
before you were born.
Yeah.
But it's let's start with just, did we like it? Did we hate it? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. I think you should go first, because I, in all transparency, had seen it before a while back. So I already had somewhat of opinion about it, and I'm curious to see what yours was.
Okay, I'm going to say two things with this. One is, I don't think we should watch movies that one person has seen again in the future. Because I think it's good for us both to experience something for the first time and talk about it.
I think that is good, but also something that I thought was like really good, or there was aspects of it that I really like, and I'm just curious to see if you felt the same way. But also, I may not feel the same way that I did previously.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because I think over time, something like that's an older movie, it can change, right? Like,
Definitely.
or your perspective on some of the things in it can change too.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, I will tell you, I would give it. This is hard because I give it a thumbs up. I did think it was good. I think it was a really good movie. It's not my type of movie, even though A Star is Born is my favorite movie ever made. But yeah, I'm still going to give it a thumbs up. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I watched this one in one night, which is like, if you followed us at all, you know that I normally watch movies in 2 nights. I stop in the middle and then I finish the next night. I watched this all in one sitting, so that says something.
Really? Okay. Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah. I think one of the things that I like about it is the fact that, and for me, if you're going to give an Oscar to someone for a performance, they need to transcend who they are. Like Sissy Spacek is, to me, like such an amazing actress. But I really felt like she was Loretta, you know, and that she did such a great job with that. And I think when you look at something like Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash story, I think Joaquin's performance was amazing. He did a really good job. He transcended who he was and became Johnny Cash.
Joaquin does that, yeah.
I disagreed with Reese Witherspoon winning the Oscar for her role in that, though, because I felt like I did not see as much June as I did Reese. So for me, I really liked this movie from that experience.
Now we're never going to get Reese Witherspoon on our podcast. Thank you so much.
No, I think Reese was good, but I wasn't like,
but not that good.
Yeah, I felt like that year somebody else should have won the Oscar.
Although if we ever watch Man on the Moon, Reese, and we talk about that one, that's your killer movie. Anyway, okay. Okay, I have to, I took some notes. I didn't take that many notes, to be honest.
I took a lot.
I can see that. But I have to start with something that my husband said, like off the bat. So I don't know why we weren't paying attention to the credits or something, so we didn't know that Tommy Lee Jones was in it. So all of a sudden, Tommy Lee Jones pops up, and Marcus goes, "Whoa, Tommy Lee Jones was at one point young?"
That's what I have here. Tommy Lee Jones looks so young. That was my first note.
Yeah, Marcus, and I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, yeah, I mean, you don't even think of Tommy Lee Jones as ever been a young guy.
Right.
But here he is. And do you think he's a natural blonde?
I kind of feel like it. You know, I
wouldn't make someone look that bad.
Right. Yeah. I had that note, like, oh my gosh, he looks so young. But then still a little older in the face in a sense, right? You know?
I mean, he definitely didn't. He definitely looked like a predator with Loretta Lynn.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I also wrote, like, how old are her parents? Because she's 14 when you start, right? He's 20, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's super creepy.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, wait, how old are her parents? Are her parents probably got to be 30? At some stage, they seemed way older. You know what I mean? Like, but they didn't seem old. I don't know. It was really interesting to look at the dynamics of the age. And back then, when they went out, that was like, seemed like it was almost acceptable and a common practice, which is disturbing.
Well, I think also, as a city girl, I can say this with confidence that that is like common practice in the backwoods.
I don't I don't know if that's common practice in the backwoods. I feel like that's a stereotype.
No, I think I
But
know.
I do think it was a common practice in general, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, it was
girls
a
are
different
married off
time.
young,
Yeah,
and that was what you were expected to do. Um,
especially, obviously she was a girl at that time. She didn't know how to read. She didn't know how to
right.
like. So
She was a
she
child.
was a
She really
child,
was a
and she was a
child.
child in a place that didn't really prepare girls to be anything other than a wife and a mother. And um, yeah,
Right. Yeah. And then at one point, I think that to me is part of the story. The reason why I like that is to see somebody that came from such a very humble beginnings and so
hmm
forth, and to see her arc of becoming the queen of country music in her own mind, um, the queen of country music, where she felt, like it was I can't even speak now. I thought it was really good in how it transitioned the story and where it went within it. You didn't like some things of it, right?
well, so I have, interestingly enough, with you saying that she came from humble beginnings and she ended up the queen of country, at least in her mind, blah blah.
Right.
My last note in my notes, but I'm going to move it to right now, is Jim. You definitely have a type. I'm like
Really?
Dolly, Loretta, like this is his type of
Mm,
story, right down to like the backwoods and the mama and the papa and the I came from nothing and now I'm a queen. Like totally, you have a type. That is like your type of person
I
that you
guess
love.
the very first concert I ever saw as a child was Loretta Lynn.
Oh, that's
My
sweet. You're
so
so old.
fuck you. So I had to go. My dad worked for Coca-Cola, and at the time that in Nashville, there used to be a place called Opryland, which was an amusement
Yeah.
park, and that's where the auditorium is now, the Grand Ole Opry. And so, as a treat, they had a concert that afternoon of Loretta Lynn, and as a kid, we'd never been to one, so that was my first concert, was going to see her in concert, and
Mm.
it was kind of cool.
Um, these are my, yeah. So okay. So going back to like back in line of my notes.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that my next note was just why is Tommy Lee Young so creepy? Like, why did
Right.
he look like? Because he doesn't really creep me out as an older person, but as a younger man, I was like, you are freaking creepy.
I think part of his persona, part of the character is creepy, right? Like this guy with this child, and knowing that she's a child in a sense, right? I was also like, he spent $5 on that horrible pie. Like, he bought her
Because he
pie
loved
because he loved
her.
her. Well, because he was interested in her or whatever. I don't.
And then
He just
exploiting
didn't really
her
know
for
her,
money.
but he
He
really,
basically pimped her out.
$5 for this pie or whatnot. I just thought it was interesting to see the arc of a woman that, like her father, when they were like, "Who gives this woman?"
Yeah.
Like she's your possession to give
Well, she
away,
was.
right?
Women were.
And I hate that. I hate that
hmm
term, and I don't like when that happens. Who gives this woman away?
But it absolutely, I don't know. I
Right.
thought Tommy Lee Jones was endearing. His character was kind of endearing. He was stressed about asking her parents.
Right.
He kind of let her boss him around a bit. The wedding night rape scene was a little
That was a
hard.
little hard and a little like rough to see. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
And if you haven't seen this movie,
but why didn't her mother prepare her for that? Like, it wasn't a shocker she was getting married. Why didn't her mother be like, Loretta,
why are you
we
always
ever had
women
that?
shaming and women blaming?
Well, because I feel like in
I'm
this
joking.
period
You're
of
not a woman
time, that
blamer.
would have been the mother's responsibility. A father during this period of time would never have that conversation with their
No,
daughter,
but
right?
I also think that
Yeah.
he knew kind of how she was, and I think he could have. I don't know. It just obviously she was saying no, and her husband raped her, and we
Right.
kind of we don't glaze over it, but we do kind of move right along to like. But then at the end, he's who made her famous, so let's love him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, it was a little like hard. She was really obviously mad. She was like, and I don't think she was mad at him for the rape of sorts, right? Because I don't think she identified it as that.